Anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for weaknesses. I wouldn't play to my strengths. I played to my weaknesses. I had a kill list. Practice or when I'm training or during games, I switch my mind to something else. You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
There have been many performances this year that are MVP worthy, but as it is said, there can only be one, and that one is Kobe Bryant.
He's the best player in basketball, and
Basketball on the court, complicated shots, shooting over taller opponents. There has been nobody better than Kobe Bryant, and played with a broken finger and won a championship, had to rotate the ball off of the broken finger.
He might be the greatest difficult shot maker ever.
That I'm willing to work harder than you.
wow.
You inspire me to be better.
Kobe is more skilled than any player that's ever played that I've seen.
Kobe is the greatest of all time.
NBA Most Valuable Player Award. To congratulate Kobe Bryant.
The thing that Kobe Bryant does more better than anyone else.
And I'm going to get there at 3 o'clock. I want to make sure I make 400 made shots before I go back into the room, and then I sit in the sauna and I get ready for it. Who do I see? I see Kobe Bryant, already working out.
The MVP of the 2009 NBA Finals, who averaged 32 points plus, who averaged almost 6 rebounds and 7 assists a game, Kobe Bryant.
I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the
you
deal
were
I made.
crystal clear about it.
Crystal clear. So at 13 years old, I had a, I had a kill list. And so, you know, they used to do these rankings. It was Street and Smith basketball rankings. And I was nowhere to be found because I was like 6'4", scrawny, like 160 pounds soaking wet. So I was like 57 on the list. And so I will look at 56, 55, all the way up to number 1, who these players are, what club teams they played for. So when we go on an AAU travel circuit, I got to hunt them down, right? And so that became my mission in high school, is to check off every other person, all those 56 other names, hunt them down and knock them down. So like at 13 years old, you know, I played the longer game, because my game wasn't about being better than you at 13. It was to be better than you when, you know, the chips are really on the line. So when we played at 13, I would size you up and see what your strengths and weaknesses are. How do you approach the game? Are you silly about it? Are you goofy about it? Are you good at it just because you're bigger and stronger than everybody else, right? Or is there actually thought and skill that you put into it, right? And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I wouldn't play to my strengths. I played to my weaknesses. Because when you're playing summer basketball, there's so many games. So there's not a lot of skill work being done. So when are you going to get better, right? When you're playing in competition situations, you're only playing to your strengths. Why? Because you want to win, right? So what I would do, I was work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull-up jump shot, post game, right? So I have a strategy. And so then fast forward to when I'm 17, and my game is completely well-rounded, and that player at 13 that I saw at 13 is still doing the same shit at 17, now you got a problem. So, you know, basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft. The love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, you know, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. And so that curiosity to see where I could push this thing led me down that path, I think. Like I see a lot of players take vacations with other players that are close friends. And we'll just take vacations just to take vacations, or just hang out just to hang out. Like I never did that.
Why
It was a
not
choice.
though? Why didn't you do that?
Well, because when I retire, I didn't want to have to say, I wish I would have done more.
So what is your recruiting approach? So if you're sitting down with me, I'm somebody you really want me on the team. What's your approach to recruiting?
You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
Some of the guys that you saw and you watched that weren't just driven by the money, were there some names that you looked at and says, these three guys are as crazy as I am?
At the time, I deal with what I've referred to as Goat Mountain. I went to Goat Mountain and I talked to Magic, Michael, Bird, Keem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Oscar Robinson, Bill Russell. You know, so I would talk to them. What did you do? What were your experiences? Michael in particular, he's become my big brother. He's been my big brother since I first came in the league. And what was that process like? So I went to them and started understanding the ins and outs of the game and how they approach things and their level of detail and obsessiveness, and that's what I did. Well, you got to look at the reality of the situation. Like for me, it's not, you kind of got to get over yourself. Like, it's not about you, man. Like, okay, you feel embarrassed. You're not that important. Like, get over yourself.
That's where you go.
Get over yourself, right? Like you're worried about how people may perceive you, and like you're walking around and it's embarrassing because you shot 5 air balls. Get over yourself, right? And then after that, it's okay, well, why did those air balls happen? Got it. High school, year before, we played 35 games, max, right? Week in between, spaced out, plenty of time to rest. In the NBA, it's back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I didn't have the legs. So you look at the shot, every shot was online. Every shot was online, but every shot was short. Right? I got to get stronger. I got to train differently. The weight training program that I'm doing, I got to tailor it for an 82-game season so that when the playoffs come around, my legs are stronger and that ball gets there. So I look at it with rationale and say, okay, well, the reason why I shot air balls is because my legs aren't there. I go, well, next year they'll be there.
So many guys tell stories about your work ethic.
Yeah.
What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, I mean, every day. Since 20 years. It was an everyday process, and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Now, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them, so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast. Right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game, and it just never changed. The separation for me, emotionally, to be able to put myself in a place where at practice or when I'm training or during games, I switch my mind to something else. I switch my mode into something else. Right? For me, it's the equivalent of Maximus Decimus Meridius in Gladiator picking up the dirt, smelling the dirt. It's go time. Right? So that was my mental switch. It was like an actor getting ready for a film. You got to put yourself in that cage. When you're in that cage, you are that character. And then when you leave there, it's something completely different. But when I'm in that cage, bro, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. What I have to do now is make sure that the people that we bring in, these obsessives that we bring in, are challenging themselves to do the best job that they think they can do. That's what I'm there for, is for them to constantly look in the mirror and self-assess and challenge themselves. If we have a project and you're saying, okay, I can do that, that's not the project we want. The projects that say, I don't know if I can animate that. I don't know how to write that story. I don't know how to do that. Those are the things we want, because through that curiosity, you'll reach a level that you didn't think was possible. And and then my competitiveness inside was like, no, I'm gonna do something in the next 20 years that is better than these last 20. You might not understand that. I'm doing that,